Alrighty, so the original Star Wars Battlefront. So right away, I'm gonna have to mash the button because I don't want to get a copyright strike from the first 2 seconds of the game, and the volume settings don't apply until after you select the profile. But hi. This is the original Star Wars Battlefront. I wanted to do a campaign run for this series because this is a very important game to my childhood. For an obvious reason that is in the stream title. This is also going to be a VOD mute, so unfortunately we will not see the prologue. Anyway, this is basically a rough kind of I forgot there was narration, but it's also very quiet on my end. I could barely hear it. Anyway, this is kind of like an adaptation of the movies that were available at this point, which is leaving out a lot, to be honest. Episode 3 wasn't out when this movie, or when this game came out. I was trying to fight Windows for a moment. I don't like PC gaming. But yeah, this is the PC version. It looks really snazzy, actually. How am I doing? That's a very good question I don't necessarily have an answer to, which seems to be my default response a lot of times. Also, please let me know if the volume's okay. I have no clue how loud this is gonna sound, because I can't see OBS because I am playing a PC game that's very difficult to alt-tab because it was made in 2004, and the Steam version, even through the GOG patches, really didn't fix a lot of that inconvenience. So yeah, episode 3 was a year later, which we'll get into later. There's something really interesting about this game because of that. But yeah, this is the original Battlefront. It is certainly Star Wars Battlefront. I played this game a crap ton. I really was into Star Wars as a kid. Not so much nowadays, and we'll get into that more likely than not. But I definitely wanted to cover this game just because it is very important to me. Also, the constant exploding, because the Gungans all use the exploding things. I don't remember the name of them because I kind of checked out of Star Wars, and not for the reason everyone might think. We'll get to that later, more likely than not. I kind of don't remember a lot of the names of characters and everything, truth be told. Yeah, this is the final battle of episode 1, so we're kind of getting tossed into the deep end. So, like in the movie, we have the little shield generator, dinos. I don't know what they're called. It's Star Wars. They probably have an official name. I just don't know what it is. And if we take them out, then the shield generator drops, which means obviously they have less shielding. Full disclosure, I'm playing on easy because Kid Me was never able to beat this game on normal difficulty or hard. Fun thing, adult me can't beat this game on normal. I tried my damnedest to beat the game. I could not do it, straight up. I could not get through the final level. So we're just playing on easy for the sake of my mental health. So there are a bunch of different classes in the game. So we were playing as a pilot. If I recall correctly, if you are a pilot class character, vehicles will auto regen, which for this stage is really important because we have a lot of action with the AAT. This is something I actually remember the name of, and don't expect that for everything. The other thing is, Battlefront 1 actually has first-person view for every vehicle. This is not the case for Battlefront 2, and we'll get into that later because Battlefront 2 is also an important game, but I'm not going to cover it for this series. So yeah, it's a pretty standard third-person third-person shooter for the era. There's also a first-person mode with the current PC config I have. It's left-click to switch views, which is very convenient actually. On console, I remember you have to map it manually. But yeah, the other issue with the PC version is there's no auto aim, which I find very disorienting as someone who grew up with the PS2 version, because again, as the stream title indicates, this was my first PS2 game. I literally wanted this game so badly because I was super into Star Wars and did not like that this game was not in GameCube, so I was very disappointed. So what happened was my brother, who also is a big Star Wars fan, and probably still is, I haven't talked to him in years, admittedly, and we'll get into that later. We basically pulled our money together, like allowance money essentially, and bought a PS2. It was like one of the original models, but not really, because they did 5 versions of the original PS2 that have like different features. Like they got rid of ports. This is something Sony always does every gen. It's like get rid of ports, which means I don't think mine has like as many inputs. Like I think it has like a USB and that's about it on the front. But also, what was I saying? Yeah, we got a PS2 for basically one game, and didn't really think ahead to like, oh yeah, this is not remotely a smart move, but we're also like kids at the time, so it's fine. Ow. I feel like everyone is very squishy in this game. I die so much more in this game than Battlefront 2, which again, I think there's a difference in design philosophy between Battlefront 1 and 2 that's very fascinating. And I weirdly enough think it actually applies to the EA games as well. Like the same design philosophy differences, I think apply to both like Battlefront 2 sets, which is very fascinating. Anyway, we won. That was a very short round. By the way, the music is off because copyright. We'll also be skipping most of the cutscenes because of literally using movie scenes. So this is going to be a really weird playthrough to do for this series, I'll fully admit.
The Royal Naboo Security Force is trying to retake Theed.
Again, literally cannot hear what they're saying.
You must hold the city at all costs.
Yeah. Anyway, we're attacking Theed now, apparently. This is definitely a scene from the movie. Nope, not gonna do that. But the PS2 was like a great investment in hindsight. Even though, you know, kid me didn't know it at the time, because I discovered some of my favorite games ever through the PS2. And we'll get to that later, but again, we gotta start from the beginning. So now we have access to the Droidica, or the I feel like these had another, like, unofficial name. I don't remember what it was, though. Anyway, we have the shield and everything.
Follow me. Over there.
Oh, hi. So we actually have 2 unique groups for these 2 missions, the Gungans and the Naboo Guards. So you don't get to play as them ever. In Battlefront 2 you can play as the Gungans, but not in Battlefront 1. I'm sure there are mods for that though. Droidicas are very overpowered, as you might imagine, given the movies. There are actually Jedi in this game later on, but you can't play as the Jedi without like modding. A lot of the stages in this game also come back in Battlefront 2, but this one, for example, is at night in Battlefront 2, so it's a very different look, even though it's the same stage. I think there are mods that actually combine both games' like levels, which I would have to look into that, like what modding these games would even entail, because I don't really know. We are probably gonna die, yeah. Droidicas are not the most maneuverable when they're not rolling. So I just want to shut it off. We're switching back to a Garden Variety Battle Droid because I don't want to be bothered with maneuvering around that. Yeah, just being able to toggle first person whenever is very nice. And yeah, this game does bring back a lot of memories, both good and bad in some ways. Both of these games I played a ton. Battlefront 2 a little bit more, partly because as kids I think we kind of had the philosophy of sequel equals good, so sell the old game. So like I don't think kept Battlefront 1 very long, and just kept 2 since most of the content was intact. Unfortunately, the PS2 version's missing levels. For example, the PS2 version of Battlefront 2 did not have a couple stages that were actually available in the Xbox version as DLC. So Battlefront 2 on Xbox is actually a more complete experience, though you can also play the Classic Collection as well to get those stages, and also the bonus heroes and everything, but that also requires playing the Classic Collection, which I hear is not very good. I've heard the general take is Classic Collection on console is like an argument can be made for it just because of, you know, being able to play Battlefront on like Switch and PS4. But like, it's not on Xbox for starters, I don't think. And even then, it's but wait, it is on Xbox, but it's generally considered better just buy the original 2 versions because back compatibility is a thing on Xbox. So in general, it's recommended to do that instead. But again, I actually tried playing the Xbox version of this because it was on sale and I had Xbox credit built up. The FOV is way tighter on the Xbox version to the point where it was actually giving me a headache, so I decided to go with PC, which also meant I had to cap the frame rate because it would run at like 400 FPS and VSync wasn't doing anything, so I was afraid of it like not getting along with my computer basically. So yeah, it's very interesting. As a kid, I was also just generally into Star Wars. Like, I remember seeing, like, Episode 4, like, so many times. I even liked the prequels quite a bit at the time. Though I definitely did not like Attack of the Clones, specifically, out of all the movies, just because I thought it was very, like, hokey in terms of the dialogue, which is a very common take even now. But Phantom Menace I actually think is a bit overhated, personally. I don't think it's, like, an amazing movie. I wouldn't watch it over the original trilogy, but I actually kind of like Phantom Menace more than most, I would say. Though, to be fair, that movie is getting like a renaissance, or like a sudden resurgence of like appreciation. It's like, I can't wait for there to eventually be another Star Wars trilogy by someone new, and then everyone's like, wow, the sequel trilogy is really good compared to what we have now, because I know that's going to happen. It's a cycle of like, wow, this thing that we all hated back then is suddenly really good by comparison. What's the shot spread on this? Ow. Again, on easy, I'm still dying a lot, so I made the right choice, I think. Typically I like playing games on normal difficulty if I can get away with it, but this is a case where I cannot get away with it. I tried. Yeah, I think my favorite Star Wars movie is still 6, but I also like Last Jedi a lot, which I know is a very contentious take on the internet, so I actually also really like the EA Battlefront games. That's another very hot take, because I just played a lot of Battlefront 2 and had a good time with it. I actually think both games series have similar issues, where Battlefront 1 is smaller scope, though Battlefront 1 EA is even smaller in that it's only original trilogy. But with Battlefront 2, it's a lot bigger, but it feels less polished because it's so much bigger. And I think that actually goes for the original Battlefront 2 as well, where it has so much more content, so I think it is the better game in general. But there's something about the vibe of Battlefront 1 that I think hits different. For example, the cursor is a lot smaller, which actually makes a huge difference in terms of like auto-aim. Auto-aim in Battlefront 2 is very generous, if I recall correctly. So yeah, very different game feel. And you can play as the hero characters, and they're very overpowered usually. And so yeah, Battlefront 2 just kind of hits different. Even though Battlefront 1, I think, is a more solid, like, actual multiplayer kind of game. It's a little bit better balanced, I would say, but it is definitely still a case of, like, game balancing from a game in 2004. After this, I did pick up a couple PS2 games. A lot of them were just gifts of multi-plat games. For example, Battlefront. Not Battlefront, but Lego Star Wars. I had the first one on PS2 and the second one on GameCube because availability. I remember having like Madagascar on PS2, like the DreamWorks movie. Hey, another one. Yeah, we're just gonna go through the campaign. This will probably take a bit, but not bad. We're kind of flying through.
To resist our overture.
So next up we have a very interesting.
Take a legion to Kashyyyk.
Again, I can't make out a single word that he's saying. I might start skipping these because I can't hear. But Count Dooku will assist us, which is our introduction to the hero system. So basically, in different stages, hero characters will show up and help. They are invincible. The only way to defeat them is to knock them off a platform, which is not exactly the most convenient thing. Another interesting quirk of this is we actually have access to super battle droids now. So this is basically like trying to set up episode 2 story-wise. But I think this stage is not in Battlefront 2 even as DLC. This is one of the ones that was never brought back because it's like very non-canon in terms of execution, and it's not even like an EU thing. Like another stage we'll be seeing soon. But yeah, this is a very old school game, like no regening health. You basically have to go like pick up health kits or like sit next to a heal droid. It's just very archaic, and I don't entirely gel with this if I'm being real. I don't think I like this game that much anymore, but again, a lot of it's a personal problem, I fully admit. For example, because of like, you know, buying the PS2 and this game, by pulling funds, I do have a negative association with this game built in. Unfortunately, because things did not exactly resolve well with my sibling. So yeah, I do feel like in general that kind of taints this game a bit for me, and also Battlefront 2, because it's just not. Yeah, it just kind of brings back, like, you know, weird memories, mixed feelings, and also as a game, I think I'm just not as into Star Wars. I actually sold off a bunch of games recently, and, like, most of them were just the Star Wars games that physicals up. The only one I kept was Rogue Squadron. For obvious reasons, that's another childhood game. The only reason I didn't do Rogue Squadron is I was worried about copyright, and, for some reason, I kind of deemed, like, if I was gonna do a Star Wars game on stream, Battlefront makes more sense because it sets up so many other games. Like, I literally probably wouldn't have had a PS2 if it wasn't for this game, and then that led to me discovering, like, Final Fantasies that I wouldn't have been able to play on GameCube, and, like, all sorts of other games, mostly RPGs. You know, Kingdom Hearts is another one. But that will not be covered for the series, because as much as I love Kingdom Hearts, I don't think it quite qualifies for this series. Though that doesn't rule out a Kingdom Hearts playthrough in the future. I might end up doing like a full Kingdom Hearts run at some point. Which I know is a total mistake to try to commit to, because oh my god, there's so many Kingdom Hearts games, and they're all very complicated. But yeah. In terms of gameplay, it's also just kind of tedious to do a story mode run, which is part of the reason I was kind of worried about how this would go commentary-wise, because it's just gonna be me doing the same thing for like 2 hours, because the gameplay loop doesn't really change, it's just the stage changes. And we do switch sides later on. You get a little time with the Empire and Rebellion and the Galactic Civil War story, and you get a little bit of time with the clones as well. But again, this is kind of like supposed to be before episode 2. I think after this might be Geonosis actually, so then we'll switch sides. Another thing is this game actually did have Xbox exclusive DLC as well, which I think was brought back as a normal level, or main level in Battlefront 2, which is Jabba's Palace. In the PC version now, it is actually included, but in Battlefront 2, the Xbox stages are not. For whatever reason, I feel like the Steam version of Battlefront 2 never got nearly as many updates to like fix some of the problems of it. Like, there's no controller support on the PC version. So there is some merit to the Classic Collection if you can tolerate some of the weird inconsistencies of it. Yeah, the two objective types I haven't talked about, either getting rid of all the enemy reinforcements, like the number on the top middle, or capturing all the command posts and letting it tick down, because then no more reinforcements can spawn in.
From leaving the surface, we must.
Again, genuinely cannot hear a word they're saying.
The rest of your units.
But this stage sucks. Because we have a unique gimmick. Also, again, can't watch that, unfortunately. We have a unique setting because there's also Geonosians to worry about. So this is actually a really rough first stage for the clones. I'm gonna pick a pilot right away, and I'm gonna hop into a gunship because I want to not suffer.
Move out. Mount up.
One weird quirk of this game also is that the clones in this game are voiced by the original actor, but not in Battlefront 2, which always was very jarring to me. It's also really weird seeing like episode 2 aesthetic, because like after this point, I think episode 3 aesthetic became the norm for like Clone Wars era Star Wars. So for example, like you have the Clone Wars, which is kind of like a hybrid setting, like the CG Clone Wars to clarify, because there's also 2D Clone Wars, which a lot of people really like. I actually don't like, because it's just very like style over substance, which Star Wars kind of just has a problem anyway, let's be real. Hi Chibi, welcome on in. This is a very chill playthrough despite being Star Wars, because I'm just kind of like vibing. Again, this game is a very autopilot kind of game for me. But yeah, it's been nice, just kind of chilling. Yeah, I was never really a big Clone Wars fan of either incarnation. I tried watching the CG show. I apparently bailed right before it got good, unfortunately. So, oops. That's typical for me.
Destroy the Techno-Union ships.
So yeah, we have Mace Windu helping us. He's the only, like, every era only has one hero character, which is really weird. Thank you for the hydration check. You've never played Battlefront 1 or 2. They're interesting. So hi Zon, welcome on in. This is a very, yeah, this is very mellow, weirdly enough, for Star Wars. Like, I just am kind of vibing. My other real hot take about Star Wars is I don't actually like the movies that much anymore. I don't even like the original trilogy that much anymore. Just because I think they're actually overhyped. Like, Empire Strikes Back, in my opinion, is kind of a whatever movie. I'm not a huge fan of Empire. I feel like a lot of Star Wars gets bogged down in theming in a way that just gets boring to me. Like, all the stuff on Dagobah kind of loses me. The stuff with, like, the character building is a lot more interesting to me than just Luke training for, like, 30 minutes of that movie or however long it is. But again, I also just have hot Star Wars takes in general because I am a rebel, and not in the way that Star Wars has the rebellion. Also, apologies for motion sickness, because I fly the Republic gunship in a bizarre-ass way where I just swerve around constantly. So, yeah, motion sickness warning potentially, because I don't know how to drive. There's Mace Windu. Yeah, this is my really weird broken strategy to get through this really annoying stage. It's to just fly up and snipe everybody. Which again, is very disorienting. I'm actually getting motion sick just playing it, actually. Which is great to be the one piloting and also getting dizzy. Speaking of dizzy, I could use as a segue, but I'll refrain for now. I'll show restraint once from talking about my girly pop. Oh wait, I actually can segue. I can actually segue into Guilty Gear. You won't? What do you mean you won't? Oh, you won't show restraint? Okay, at least... I mean, if you want to talk about this, yeah, I can't stop you. But also, Evo registration numbers dropped. This will date very poorly if I do a YouTube video of this in like 4 months, because I'm backed up on my main channel so much. So, numbers are down across the board for every game, which is kind of normal, but like Tekken dropped significantly, and it was like, I didn't know how bad this patch is. They were serious about this patch being bad, apparently, because like Tekken dropped from like 4,500 entrants, and Tekken usually is one of the most entered games at EVO. It dropped all the way to like 2,500, so almost a 50% drop. It's pretty stark. I don't think I've really... Ow. That was just me crashing into a wall because I was thinking about Tekken. It happens. What the hell? Where is this ATTE facing? Actually, I don't know if the pilots have an auto heal on vehicles in this game. It doesn't feel like it because it feels like the vehicles are still taking a lot of damage. I think everything just hits hard in this game. Like damage scaling is reduced for Battlefront 2 maybe. Actually don't want to be a pilot if I'm not actually piloting a vehicle, so this is very awkward. The PC version of this game also has like... No auto aim, so that's fun. I was trying to figure out how to enable it. The CIS, the sys lost the Techno Union. Yeah, I mean, I think in Star Wars, the Confederacy of Independent Systems, or CIS, and then the Techno Union are kind of like linked. So these are like Techno Union ships, if I recall correctly. Unfortunately, in this game, you don't get to take out the really big ship over there. Unfortunately, that's a JPEG, or a PNG. Ow, I actually wanted to perish there because I want to respawn not in a horrible location. No, wait, come back. I want to fly the ship. Damn it. It's fine. But the other thought I have is, it's kind of impressive that Guilty Gear Strive is like almost 5 years old, and it's still like getting a lot of entrants at EVO. Like 1,500 for a game as old as it is doesn't seem that bad. It's more than like some new games. Also, the Hunter x Hunter game is apparently hot garbage, just because people say it's actually kind of interesting gameplay wise, but the netcode is completely broken at the moment. So that's fun. But like apparently people are just lapping it, and it's like some of the combo potential is very good. It's just no one can play online because they tried to slap and roll back netcode very last minute, and it does not work. Yeah, apparently the gameplay is actually fine. People say it'll be fun at like local events, but just, you know, online is non-workable at the moment. Someday I will see more of Hunter x Hunter, but that requires scheduling. Oh shit. Ow. Hey, I lived. Let's see. The other thing is like Mortal Kombat is another series where it's like the numbers are just very low. Not paying $60 for that when your ass is always online. Exactly. I mean, I'm not like super into that game anyway. Like I wouldn't probably play it myself. If I want to play a like attack fighter, I'll just boot up Marvel or something. Hi Aiden, welcome on in. Hope you're doing well. And yeah, a lot of people are like, this feels like a game that should have been at least $30 at launch. It should not have been $60. That's insane. Especially because, like, when was the Hunter x Hunter anime? That was like 2011. It's like, it doesn't have any recency to carry it. Like, it feels wild that they thought they could get away with charging $60 for a game based on an anime that isn't remotely current. You know, not to say that Hunter x Hunter isn't still very popular, but just like, you know, the recency bias is gone. Oh yeah, this stage isn't in Battlefront 2 at all either. They have a different Geonosis stage, which is actually, in my opinion, less interesting, because it's a lot flatter. There isn't the big spire, but I almost feel like the spire does give the CIS a high ground advantage. I said funny. But yeah, because they have the high ground immediately, they just kind of dominate. The other Geonosis map in 2 is also very broken though, because again, you have Geonosians, so it's like very lopsided. Again, I feel like this game is very imbalanced in terms of like overall scaling. Yeah, like with Guilty Gear, it's like, you know, people always do the predictions, like, what do you want to see announced at EVO? And I'm like, I don't care. If I'm being real, I don't really care that strongly. Like, for Strive, they've already said it's just gonna be Lucy, and it's like, I've already made my opinions on Cyberpunk 2077 very clear, so I'm not that interested. Ouch. We were really low in health, apparently. I was not paying attention. Oh, hi. Suddenly a wheel. Yeah, we have like an electric gun this time, which is interesting. But like, they might announce Season 5. They've already hinted that they're gonna do more content past Season 4. They're also teasing like a really big surprise in the future, so I'm like, I don't know. I just want to play Strive. I just want to play the game online again, but I'm waiting for the ranked update to actually play with like randos. And try a lap more. But the other thing is, like Tekken 8, I don't care about Tekken at this point. Everything I hear about Tekken 8 is very, very scathing, it feels like, so I've just kind of lost interest in that game entirely. And Street Fighter 6 is a game that I'm not super excited about either. I own it, and I bought it a long time ago, so I'm gonna play it eventually, but I'm not excited for it. I finally made a character in the character creator. That took like an hour. But yeah, I'm not like super interested in Street Fighter. Like, they were all like, oh look, we're gonna do a thing with Espa, and I'm like, neat. The costume just looks like Jury normally. Like, it doesn't feel like it should be worth as much money as they're charging. Also, they're having like the weird like AI thing for Espa as like a host or like a commentator, and it's like, why? No one is excited about this, not even like Espa fans seem to like the AI thing. I don't even understand it entirely, why they have like an AI, a Gen AI for like 5th member or something, or 6th member. I don't know how many members are in Espa. We saw like none of that stage because we just flew around it the whole time.
I have on Camino, our eventual victory.
Oh yeah, I forgot they showed the movie scene there. Oops. Just gotta skip that real quick. Put the controller down and everything because I was gonna clear my throat. I feel like I was gonna go on a different tangent too. And I'm like, was it about fighting games or K-pop? Because it could have been either very easily. But like with,
Our reinforcements have been cut off.
with Guilty Gear, it's like, there's rumors of a Season 5, partly because of the Axis hack, so I'm not going to talk about it in detail, for obvious reasons. But hey, if there is a Season 5, I'll be there for it. I have a wish list of characters I want to see. By the way, Camino's a really interesting stage in this game, just because it's very, like, rainy. I always feel like Camino ends up being used as, like, a tech showcase, because it's very shiny and, like, rainy. But also visibility is kind of ass, so it's kind of a weird stage that they always seem to put in these games. That was a horrible shot. But what was I gonna say? Why we start with like 50 more reinforcements than the others? PS2 water, hell yeah. How drinkable is PS2 water? I don't actually like the jet troopers very much, but we'll keep using them for lols. But like, I just want to play more Strive. I really, this is the Guilty Gear game that I really got into. I want to play more XR too, in all fairness. You want to piss to water? What? Oh my god, Ratchet and Clank Very. That's really impressive because Ratchet and Clank is like a really old game. Speaking of which, this is relevant to Ratchet and Clank. I don't know if I would have found Ratchet and Clank if I didn't play this game, and if I wasn't a huge Star Wars nerd at the time, to the point of buying a goddamn PS2 for one game. So yeah, small world sometimes. It makes me wonder, like, if I hadn't... You know, it's one of those things where as much as I resent Star Wars now, I do owe a lot to Star Wars. Which is actually the case for a lot of things in my life, where it's like, I would not be here if it wasn't for XYZ. But I actually don't even like that thing anymore. I can think of a lot of examples. I don't know if I want to say any in a stream that will be archived to perpetuity, because people will probably find it and be mad at me in the future. So I'll just leave it at Star Wars for now. Let's see. Yeah, I swear I was gonna talk about something else. I literally cannot think of what it could have been. I fear for my memory sometimes. That's not good. Though, again, maybe I'm a little sleep deprived. I should probably be more responsible and actually, like, go to bed at a normal hour. Like, truth be told, my hand is cramping up playing this game. I can't even say it's because I don't play games like this very often, because I do. So I'm, like, very confused that my hand is cramping up. Genuinely baffled by this. Days like that, yeah. Okay, we're good. We're fine, we're alive. Yeah, I wouldn't have played like Star Ocean, Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy 10, 12, 10-2, yeah, Kingdom Hearts 1, 2. I never played Chain on PS2. I was never super, like, interested, and I tried it on the collection and didn't really like it. I'm not really into, like, the idea of playing an RPG and not being able to, like, choose my attacks, apparently. But maybe I need to just give it another chance. Again, I had the really wild idea of, like, what if I did, like, a run of Chain, like, Rechain on PS2, and then played, like, Riku's run on original Chain of Memories? Would that be weird? Because part of me wants to do something that wild. Just because it would be interesting. Have to play Chain twice? Yeah, that is the other downside, is unlocking it. Because it is not unlocked by default. What else? Again, a lot of movie games. I can't remember where I played Trek Super Slam, if that was GameCube or PS2. I want to say it was GameCube. But again, Madagascar for sure was PS2. What a wild-ass movie that was. I saw Madagascar 2 and I actually really disliked it. Another fun PS2 story is Spider-Man Web of Shadows for PS2, because, like, the PS3, 360, and Wii versions of Web of Shadows were all the same, essentially. But the PS2 version was actually just the PSP version, which was very disappointing at the time, because the game looked cool from trailers, and then, oh no, this is the PSP version. Like, the DS version also being a Metroidvania was, like, fine, because you expect the DS version to not run it, but, like, the PS2 normally got the Wii version downscaled. Like, Sonic Unleashed is just the Wii version at, like, 360p, instead of, like, 480p. Again, Unleashed is probably on the list, because I do actually really like Sonic Unleashed. And that's the version I have more attachment to, believe it or not. But again, this is like Fox Girl's favorites number like 13 or 14. I have like 50 games planned out. Like, I might be overachieving to the point where I'm actually trying to do Xenoblade 2 planning already. Because my original file of Xenoblade 2 is so scuffed. is unbelievably scuffed. So I'm actually trying to set up like a proper New Game Plus setup, so I don't have to like suffer as much in like a New Game run. Also, to get the final 5 blades I'm missing, I'm only missing 5 like DLC blades, I think. Including the famous one, and then the other famous one. So like, I've literally just been doing Ursula's affinity chart on my spare time, because I'm like, this is gonna take a bit, I should probably get started. What's up, son? What you thinking about? Oh, you know? Yeah, that's a nice PNG in the background. Like, that sounds very dismissive to call it a PNG. However, this is still a PS2 game from 2004, ostensibly. So yeah, I think this game looks pretty still. Like, look at that PS2 water. Look at the wave simulation. Like, it's not bad. Like, again, I can appreciate the little details in a game like this. Doing a New Game Plus run for XC2 sounds like a nice way to cut out the grind. I'm gonna do that for 3 also, because 3 is... spoilers! 3 is definitely gonna be on this in this series. It might be the last game in the series if the plan holds, because Xenoblade 3 is currently what I consider to be my favorite game of all time. So I am planning to do 2 and 3. But 2 is going to be a little bit sooner and also more of a grind to properly set up affinity charts for everything. Like, I'm doing Zenobia's and Ursula's, which is taking a long time. But like, Xenoblade 3 should be less set up, assumedly, because I did more of Xenoblade 3's like Blade quests, not Blade quests, but like hero quests, like from the get-go. I didn't put them off as long. Maybe you could do nostalgia revisits, that'd be fun. But again, the other thing for like a game clearing stream is like, I've never played Ratchet 1 actually, so I've thought about doing that, because I am planning to up your arsenal for the series, because that was my first Ratchet and Clank. Again, that's part of the reason I'm playing this game, is because, you know, it's relevant, because I wouldn't have played Ratchet and Clank, Sly Cooper, Jack... No wait, Jack would have been later. Sly would have been later. Yeah, those were PS3, but Ratchet I did play on PS2. You'd love to join for a Ratchet and Clank 1 playthrough? I will keep that in mind. I love these little guys. I forgot what they're called, like the TX-013 or whatever. I forget the exact designation, but these are just like the coolest things as a kid. And LEGO only recently started making sets for them because they're basically expanded universe at this point, so they're not like canon. But like, this is also featured in the game called Star Wars The Clone Wars, which has no relation to the show Star Wars Clone Wars, or Star Wars The Clone Wars, or the movie Star Wars The Clone Wars. Wow, I hate this franchise's naming sometimes. And I'm a Kingdom Hearts fan. This is just like Mortal Kombat 1, Mortal Kombat, Mortal Kombat, and Mortal Kombat. Like, why are companies? This statement goes for a lot of things, not just branding of video games, but just why are companies. Part of me would like to revisit the Sly games at some point, just because it's been a hot minute since I played any of them. I tried Racing Zon once, but 1, I was feeling really crappy that day, and 2, wow, I don't remember how to play Sly 2. I couldn't even get my head around the controls. Which I don't know if that said more about me or the game at that point. Because again, I was just very much not feeling good. And I was just getting kind of frustrated trying to like get the controls down in a race setting, I guess. Jack is another one I'd love to replay at some point, just because I think I literally don't remember any of Jack 1, except for like, there's an ice level, I'm pretty sure. That's like all I remember of that game, is I'm pretty sure there's an ice level somewhere. Speaking of ice, this is a very pretty cave. I also remember the ending is like a teaser for Jack 2, where they're gonna be like, oh, we're gonna go through a portal. and that sets up Jak 2. So like your reward for completing the game is a cliffhanger. Which probably would have been very infuriating at the time. Then Jak 2 happened, where that game is a massive departure. So that's interesting. I wonder how many people played Jak 2 and then got completely blindsided by it. Like, cause we didn't have as much media then as we do now. A lot of people probably would have just gone in completely fresh and be like, what the hell is happening in this game? To be fair, there's a giant T rating on the box, so it's not a huge shocker, or it shouldn't be. But again, parents also don't necessarily care about ratings. If GTA and Call of Duty are any indication, there's also a launch title, that would make sense. And frankly, that's very impressive, because that game actually is very fun. Yeah, it was just trying to beat GTA, because everyone was kind of doing that style, and I actually don't hate Jak 2. I actually think it's a decent game, except for its allergy to checkpoints. That's literally my only beef with Jak 2, is the game could use a checkpoint in like the hardest stage in the game. Yeah, I think Jak 2 is a little bit overhated in some ways. I don't know if that's actually true or not. I've also glitched myself, so the clone trooper is permanently like constantly reloading, it feels like. Because I was definitely not low on ammo, and I was still having to reload a bunch. Oh wow, they are winning. That's a problem. I have not locked in. Again, I'm just thinking about PS2 platformers and not paying attention. Yeah, I played the PS2 version of FF10. This is my first experience with it. That game's a time. I love FF10, that's gonna come up. It's the least competitive section of the Jak trilogy. I'm not surprised, because there's probably a lot of run-kill moments. Like, compared to the other two, just because of how unforgiving Jak 2 is. It'd be like running, you know, Celeste, where it's like, you know, Celeste is a very popular speedrun, but also, like, runners literally can't run it at a point. Like, I want to say one of the former world record holders for Celeste literally had to stop because it was, like, destroying his hands, basically. Oh yeah, so, alright, where is this gonna be going? I like how I just sort of, stop for the checkpoints, yeah. There's probably a lot of weird quirks to just speedrunning that game, I imagine. But yeah, we are not doing good here. I'm alone. Why'd this have like 9, 10 like landmines here? Can literally hover. Yeah, I assume it's like frame perfect or something. Like there's gotta be something that makes it really difficult. Oh, back grenade bounced backwards. Oh. Yeah, it was pointed out earlier, but I don't think I can ever see the CIS label of Star Wars as a faction the same way anymore. There are definitely a lot of jokes that can be made. I'm trying to figure out the best way to approach this. Common tech once you get the board. Ah. Makes the game more like a Tony Hawk game? Oh. That's fun. Yeah, why are we losing so badly? Like, what the hell's happening? I think it's just because they start with the high ground. But yeah, we might actually lose this one just because we are getting kind of curb stomped. This one easy, by the way. The grenades are like the Mario 64 cannon, where you actually have to aim a little bit higher than where you want them to go, and I've noticed that only on the PC version. That doesn't feel like it's the case on console. I've actually never played a Tony Hawk game. I say this every time Tony Hawk comes up, it's like, yeah, I've never played those games. So yeah, that's a complete cultural zeitgeist I totally missed out on. Yeah, we are They literally have twice as many units as we do. We gotta do something here, because this ain't good. I literally don't know what's happening, because, like, again, this is on easy, so, like, why are we getting obliterated so bad? Yeah, yeah, no, we are not winning this one, I don't think. Unless something drastically shifts in the back half. Maybe I was just playing bad because I'm distracted. Like, maybe I can't just blame my teammates. Maybe I need to actually take responsibility, and I'm just playing, like, not good at the moment. Maybe I need to use the vehicles more. Maybe that's part of my problem. Like Geonosis, just like spend more time just camping and sniping from vehicles. The safety of vehicles. Yeah, in terms of PS2 platformers, I think I don't know which set I like the most, actually. I think I prefer Ratchet, but that's also like the, you know, nostalgia for one, and also, let's be real, there are more Ratchet games than the others, so it's kind of not entirely fair. However, I also have a soft spot for Sly, even though I'm apparently very bad at them now. And like, I think Jak and Daxter is actually my least favorite. Like, I don't dislike Jak and Daxter, but I don't think I got as much out of it as the others. We're kind of making ground back, but just very slowly. Not exactly smoothly. Jak, Sly, Ratchet, yeah. Though you've also mentioned only playing Ratchet 1. Which again, even as a Ratchet fan, I'm not like super... I never got to finish Ratchet 1. I was so spoiled by like the quality of life in the later games that I could not go back. Like, not being able to circle strafe properly was like not fun. We actually closed the gap pretty well here. Somehow. Just casually hijacking a tank. Wow, why are all these shots missing? What the hell? Yeah, clearly the optimal strategy is to just sit in one spot and snipe. So yeah, I'm getting the impression that vehicles are kind of overpowered in this game. Ow. Yeah, we actually closed the gap somehow, damn. I am actually impressed by that. Because I thought we were gonna have to restart the whole stage, and I was not looking forward to that. Truth be told. In terms of other PS2, like, exclusives, I've never played Ape Escape. It's definitely on the list of games I will need to try at some point. I've never played Parappa, I've never played, I have played Shadow of the Colossus. I kind of have mixed feelings on it. I think I got oversold on it. Like, I don't think it's a bad game, I just think it's... I also played the remaster, and I could have sworn there were issues with the remaster. Like, it doesn't run well or something, or like, some of the physics got kind of messed up on PS3, because PS3 might have used the PAL version as a base, or something. I could have sworn there was some issue with Shadow of the Colossus. Also, ads are about to start, which is very unfortunate, because we're almost at the end of the stage, but just not quite. So yeah, we're gonna pause there. I'm gonna fight Windows, try to tab out. Wait, that's not Alt. That's why it didn't work. There we go.